Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance to you and respectful devotees. I am Chalana Lakshmi from Malaysia. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much Mataji for joining and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna Yashamati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you so much Mataji for joining every day and giving a beautiful association. Beautiful japa Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharika Devidasi from Texas College Station.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you Mataji for joining and giving a wonderful and beautiful association every day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirti Kasim dancing.
Hare Krishna Kirti Sundari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you Mataji for joining and giving a wonderful, beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Neetu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Thank you for joining every day and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees. Once again, I welcome you all for Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. I would like to start by sharing a quote by Srila Prabhupada ji. There is a distinction even in wood. There are so many jungle wood, we can use it for cooking. But the sandalwood, which is so valuable, if we do not know what is the value of sandalwood, if we use it for cooking and burning, similarly, if we use the human form of life exactly like cats and dogs, simply for sense gratification, then we are committing suicide. Honolulu, May 5th, 1976. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Jaipur conference call for this mid-morning session. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace, such Jayananda Gauranga Prabhuji. Prabhuji will be enlightening us on miracles and reciprocation of deities in various temples, part 3. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Jayanand Prabhuji, we are very fortunate to have you on the call this morning. Thank you for your valuable time and beautiful association. Looking forward to hearing from you, Prabhu. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to Preeti Vilasni Mataji for asking me to speak on this topic. This is a 4-part series on miracles and reciprocation, deities in various temples as part of the Arca Vigraha series of the Bhakti Sangha Japa group. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu rityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloki bhaktir bhavati naishtiki om ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalagaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri guruve namaha vancha kalpadrubhyascha kripa sindhubhye evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hey Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas assembled here. So in this seminar series, the first week which we completed, we did the temples of Vrindavan and the reciprocation of the deities in Rajasthan We did a number of temples there, and we did Gujarat and Badrikashram as well. The next week, which was last week, we did temples of East India. We covered temples in Odisha, West Bengal, and in Andhra Pradesh. Today, as part of the temples of South India, all the temples today will be in Tamil Nadu. Seminar 4, which will be next week, we will cover in other parts of India as well as outside India as well. So the first temple we will start with here is Sri Rangam. And this is in the Sri Vaishnava canon. This is the first of the 108 Divya Desams. And the picture that you see here to the right is the actual deity picture in the temple. And this is a temple which is being sung by all the 10 Arvars. They've all composed hymns. These hymns are called pasurams, and every one of them has composed on this particular deity. The name of the deity is Lord Ranganatha Swami, and the name of the goddess is, or Mahalakshmi, is Ranganayaki. The Vishnu is Kshiro Dakashayi Vishnu. Kshira is milk, Shayi is lying down. The Vishnu is lying down in the milk ocean. That is the deity, and the deity is facing south. And the deity arrived in this place in the 24th Treta Yuga, 24th cycle during the time of Ramayana in the Treta Yuga. The deity was worshipped by Ikshvaku, and he in turn received the deity from Brahma. And the deity was originally in the Satyaloka in worship by Brahma, but then Ikshvaku when he saw the deity in Satyaloka, he asked Lord Brahma for the deity. And since then it has been worshipped in the Solar dynasty. And then the deity was then given by Lord Rama to Vibhishana. And as he was taking the deity towards Lanka, and then the deity was requested by a king named Dharma Varma. And after this request, the deity is in the current position in the place called Sri Rangam, which is an island which is surrounded by river on all sides. And all the temple procedures were established by Sri Ramanujacharya somewhere in the 1000 to 1100 AD, around the time it was established by Ramanujacharya. And even now, the spiritual body of Sri Ramanujacharya is kept as it is in the temple. They infused the body of Ramanujacharya with various natural chemicals and preserved the body, and is there in a separate temple altar within the courtyard of the Sri Rangam temple. The Sri Rangam temple was also visited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he stayed there for 4 months in the house of the head priest, Sri Venkata Bhatta. And this is a place where he also met the Gopala Bhatta Goswami as a child, and who was the son of Prabodhananda, the son of and whose uncle was Prabodhananda Saraswati, and all of them met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at this place. And the temple has a rich history in terms of the Sri Vaishnava, Sampradayam. But the temple has also been visited by many devotees, acharyas, as well as in historic, because the temple has been there for at least a few cycles. The temple was also visited by Arjuna in the Mahabharata. And many of the Arvars have composed, all the Arvars have composed on this deity. And I have just cited one here. This is by King Kulashekara or Kulashekara Arvar. And here and there, if there are compositions about the deities, I have placed them in this. This verse is by Kulashekara Arvar, and it goes by Meyyil Varkai Meyyana Kullum Ivvayyam Tannodu Kooduvathillayan Ayyane Aranga Endrarekendren Mayal Kondorindhen Yendan Maluke. So here King Kulashekara Arvar is in great love with the deity of Srirangam here. And he's talking about the temporary nature of this world and the excellence of the devotees of the Lord. And then he's calling Lord Ranganatha here as Ranga, as you can see here as Aranga in Tamil, and Endra Arakindren, he's calling him by this name, and he is deeply enchanted by the form of this Lord Ranganatha Swami. So in this way, all the Arvars have composed on this deity. The deity has so many reciprocation stories with devotees. One of the Arvars, by name Andal, also married the Lord here in this temple and disappeared in this temple, in this altar. And the temple has been very closely associated with Sri Ramanujacharya, where he stayed for the bulk of the time and establishing the principles of Vaishnavism across the country. And here is the temple, a picture of the temple complex. It has 7 concentric rings. And in one of the concentric rings is the house of Venkatabhatta, which is now called Jagannath Mandir. And in this Jagannath Mandir, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, there is a temple for Lord Jagannath, and there is a Garuda Stamba, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu standing there. And there are pictures of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu throughout. And outside the Srirangam temple, there is also and just outside the temple by the bus stand, there is another complex for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there as well. The next temple we will go by is called as Sharangapani temple, popularly called as Sarangapani in the place. And this is in a place called Kudandai, which is right now called as Kumbakonam, but originally it was called as Kudandai. In this, the temple, there are 4,000 songs which are currently available, sung by the Arvars. And of these, the first, many of them were lost in over time. And about 10 of them were discovered for the first time in this temple. And the first of that song that was discovered is written here in the bottom, called as Aravamude Adiyen Udalam Ninpal Anbhaye Nirai Alaindu Karaye Urukkuhindra Nedumale Seerar Sennal Kavari Veesum Selunir Tirukudandai Erar Kolam Tigara Kedandai Kanden Yemmane. So Aravamude, which means insatiable nectar, first, and that's the first Lord. That the body, this song was composed by Nammarvar, and he says that his body melts in love for you, and you can see the bhava in these verses, and that the Lord here, the Sharangapani, makes him weep and toss like restless water, and he sees his resplendent form in this place called Tirukudandai. Tirukudandai is the name of the place, and right now is called as Kumbakonam. And is reclining amid fertile waters fanned by the whisks of golden paddy, because there is a river Kaveri that is flowing nearby. And if you see the deity here, the deity is called as Ara Vamudan. That means insatiable nectar. That is the name of the deity who is reclining here. And this is the actual deity. Somebody has managed to take a picture, and I found that on the internet. And so this is the actual picture of the deity. And the name of the deity is Ara Vamudan, okay, which just means nectar, which is insatiable. But the small deity in front is called as Sharangapani. And in some temples, the temple names are given based on the smaller deity on which the Abhishek is done and who is taken out in procession. And this particular deity has a bow in hand, which is the Sharanga bow, and he's called as Sharangapani, and in local dialect is simply called as Sarangapani. And although the main deity here behind is Ara Vamudan, but the temple name goes by the smaller deity here as Sharangapani. So this temple, 7 of the Arvars have sung hymns on this deity as Ara Vamudan. And there is a unique history here that the deity is in a half awake position. He is the Lord is neither lying down nor is awake, but it's like in a half lifted position. There is one of the Arvars, and his name is Tirumaresai Arvar. He was asking the Lord. When he came to this temple, he saw the Lord lying down in reclining position, and he was wanting him to get up. But as he was and then the Lord immediately responded to the demand of the deity, and there is one hymn that he composed asking the Lord to get up and not keep lying down. And as listening to the devotee of Tirumaresai Arvar, the Lord started to get up, and immediately the devotee Tirumaresai Arvar felt very bad, saying that and then he immediately told the Lord that he is a very has a very low position, and what is the need for the Lord to respond to his demands. And he felt very bad, and he had tears in his eyes, and he said, no, please just lie down. I should not have said like that to you. It was wrong of me. And immediately the Lord was like, okay, so when I'm lying down, you're asking me to get up, and when I'm trying to get up, you're asking me to lie down. Decide something and let me know what is it that you want me to do. And then the Lord said, and then the Lord just asked him, so tell me what you want me to do. And then the Arvar, the devotee of the Lord, said, this position is good itself, which is called Artha Shainas, like half lying down position. The face is slightly lifted up, and which is also called as Udyoga Shayana, which means like in work. Okay, so and this is this is the first 10 verses that was discovered in this temple, and only then they some Sri Vaishnavas found out that there are many more such hymns sung by the Arvars, because out of this is the first one, Ara Vamuti Adiye Udalam Ninpal Anbai. Okay, so there is so much of love for the deity here. And when he looks at this deity, but the Nammarvar who composed this did not even see this deity. He was sitting somewhere else, but by spiritual vision could see the deity, and he composed these things. But the last of these verses, it says Ayurathil Yippattum. That means out of 1,000 verses, these 10 are among them. So that's what was gave the hint to a Sri Vaishnava saint by name as Sri Nada Muni. And this Nada Muni then found out that there are 1,000 more verses, and then he will go to some other temple to find those verses. So this This temple also has two doors, one that is open during Uttarayana, which is when the sun is traveling to the northern hemisphere, and one that is traveling to the southern hemisphere. And the whole temple is kept on wheels, so it is like in a chariot, and that is how the temple was kept established in this place. And this temple also is said to be the origin of the 4,000 songs called as Divya Prabandhams, composed by the Arvars, because the first 10, not the first 10, but the 10 of them, starting with these verse Ara Vamude, was discovered in this temple, and which led to the discovery of the remaining songs or pasurams, which total to around 4,000. So this is the temple tower at the front of the temple, and what is written here is Sri Sharanga. The next temple we will go by is called as Uppaliyappan Temple. Originally, this temple was called as Uppilla Appan, but then based on some other events that happened, the name got changed to Uppiliyappan, but the original deity name was Uppilla Appan, which means unmatched deity, and the deity has no match. And this is validated by by one of the Arvars called as Thirumangai Arvar, and he names this deity there as Uppilla Appan. And here is the actual deity. Somebody did manage to take a picture of it, picture of the deity, and this is the actual deity. And here it's written in hand here, the Bhagavad Gita verse is Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. That's written in the hands here, and then Mahalakshmi is there on the chest, and the form is almost identical to that of the Tirumala deity as Venkateshwara. In the same way, one of the hands is in this position, and the other hand is like tilted, is not in any other position. So it is a very similar position to that of the Lord Balaji in the Tirumala. The location name is called as Tiruvinnagaram, and that is how originally it was called. And a Vinnagaram is used to be places where there is a deity, which is usually Lord Vishnu, next to a pond or a river, and he was the protector of that particular place, and this place was specifically called as Tiruvinnagaram. And this is a verse by Nammarvar, and he calls this particular deity as Punnappan, means deity made of spiritual gold, Maniyappan. And then Muttappan is pearls, Ennappan means his own deity, and Thiruvinnagarapan. So, and then he says Opparilla Appan. So, and that's how the name Uppilla Appan has come. So in this way, he uses rhyme words with N with a similar word here, Appan, and then he composes a hymn. And this deity is very popularly visited, and right now the name of the city is called as Tirunageshwaram. The next deity whom we will see here is called as Nachiyar Koil, and this location name is called as Tirunarayur, and the deity was also called as Tirunarayur Nambi. And in center you have in this deity, in this altar, usually the Lord is in the center of the altar, but alternately here you have Goddess Lakshmi, okay, who is in this particular place is called as Vanchula Valli, is in the center, and the Lord is shifted a little towards the right. So the importance is of Lakshmi Devi is very evident here, and hence the temple is called as Nachiyar. Nachiyar is the goddess, is called as Nachiyar Koil. Koil means temple. And the main deity here is called as Srinivasa Swami, and he has many other deities around him, and there is Shankarshana, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, and Brahma is there in a position where he is praying to the Lord. And here, that means that all the Chatur Vyuha, that is Sankarshna, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, and Aniruddha, all of them are around the deity here. And the main deity is called as Srinivasa Swami. And here is the actual deity. The picture, this is a picture of the actual deity there. And a very special feature of this particular temple is that Lord Garuda is made of stone in this temple, and stone in the local language is called Kal, and he's called as Kal Garuda. And unlike in other places where he's either carved out of metal or other materials, but not in stone, but here is made of stone, and it is considered very heavy. And when he goes on procession, the stone Garuda, the deity made of stone is carried out of the altar. And because the altar is not that big in size, the deity of Lord Garuda here becomes lighter in weight, and 8 devotees enter the altar and carry the Garuda. And as Garuda is carried, and then they step 1 foot out of the altar, another 8 people come and join as Lord Garuda becomes heavier, and 16 people need to carry the Garuda. And then when he steps out, another 32 people, when all of them are out of the altar, 32 people need to carry the Garuda. And as he exits that complex, 64 people need to carry as he becomes heavier and heavier. And as he's taken back into the altar, again, it goes back in the ratio of 64, 32, 16, and 8 people. And then he becomes lighter in order for the devotees to carry him out of the altar. And this, the deity of the Garuda here is extremely popular, and the temple itself is exquisitely beautiful. So this is the next temple, and there are 100 hymns sung by one of the Arvars on this particular deity, and the name of the Arvar is called Thirumangai Arvar, who has a special position in this temple, who composed 100 such pasurams, or the hymns on the deity. The next temple here we will talk about is called as Tirucherai, is the name of the place. And to the right is the actual deity. And again, someone has managed to take a picture, and I found this on the internet. And this is a beautiful deity, very tall. And the name of the deity here is called as Saranatha Swami. And the name of the goddess is called as Saranayaki. So Saranatha Swami and Sara, which means essence. So the essence of all the Vedas were extracted by Brahma, and but then he wanted to preserve them, and then some soil was taken from the location of this particular temple, and the name of the deity here is called as Saranatha Swami, that the essence of all the Vedas. To the left here, you can actually see the temple complex from a certain view. And all these temples here, the ones that I showed here, this Saranatha Swami temple, and the one I showed before, which is Nachiyar Koil, and all these temples are very nearby. And if one plans to visit the place of Kumbakonam, then all these temples can be accessed within one after the other, and they are very close to each other. And in this temple, there is a great significance for the river Kaveri, who flows around this river, and the deity was also worshipped by the personality of the river Kaveri. The next deity here, this is again the actual deity, and again a tall deity, and the name of this place is called as Tirukannapuram. Tirukannapuram, and the name, this is the 17th Divya Desam, and this is in the Nagapattinam district. It's not in the city. In the city of Nagapattinam, there is another temple, and who is called as Soundaraja Swami, but here this particular deity is called as Sauriraja Swami. And because he has a wig, and there is a separate pastime with a devotee, and a wig is called as Sauri, and he has a wig which in the process of helping a deity. And there are many pasurams or hymns on this deity. And 11 of them have been composed by King Kulashekara or Kulashekara Arvar. And I took the last 2 of them here just to show how the devotees have relished this deity. And this hymn goes by Devarayum Asurarayum Disaihalayum Padaitavane. Devarayum means the Devas. Asurarayum means the demons. Disaihalayum means directions. Padaitavane means the one who has created the Devas, the demigods, the demons, and the directions. Yavarum Vandu Adi Vananga. Everybody is coming and paying obeisances. To whom are they paying obeisances? To Ranga of Srirangam. Nagar, Ranga Nagar means Srirangam. Tuyendravane, he's sleeping there. But in this particular place, a devotee wanted the Lord of the Srirangam, who is always reclining, to come to stand up. And therefore, in the Sri Vaishnava parlance, this temple came to be known as Kir Vida, which means the southern house, whereas the Srirangam was called as the northern house. The same reclining deity of the Srirangam temple is here in a standing position. Kaveri Nal Nadi Payum. Nal means good. The beautiful Kaveri river is flowing around. And what is the name of this place? Kannapurathan Karimani. So he's calling this deity as of this place of Kannapuram, or the name of the deity is Kannapuram. Everyone Chilai Valava Ragavane Talilo, and he's addressing him. Sri Kulashekara Alvar was very close to Sri Ramachandra Prabhu. And he is, it's very evident of how he was deeply attached to Ramayana. And he sees this deity of in Thirukannapuram, this Swami here as in the form of Sri Ramachandra Prabhu. And so he calls him, he sings a lullaby for Lord Ramachandra Prabhu as Ragavane. And this is the last of the hymns that he sang on this deity. Kanninnama Madil Pudaisur. That means there's a great wall. So if you see the temple wall, complex walls, it is so high. So he gives specific attention to it, and he says Madil Pudaisur. So he's enclosed. And originally it was said that this temple was existing. It was so big that it was existing all the way up to the ocean. That is the Bay of, currently what is called as the Bay of Bengal. It was existing almost up to that. But over the course of time, the temple complex shrunk. But even now you can see that the outer complex of this temple, the walls are so high. Madil Pudaisur, Kanapuratin Kakutan. So Kakutan is actually coming, it's the Tamil version of a king in the Ikshwaku dynasty. And Tannadimel Talilo, that King Kulashekara wants the deity to lie on his lap so that he can put him to sleep. Yenruraita Tamil Malai. Tamil Malai means the songs that he composed in the language Tamil. Konnavilum Vel Valavan Kudai Kulashekaran Sonna. So King Kulashekara Alvar is singing these songs. Panni Nool Pattum, these 10 songs that he has composed. And who's able to compose them? Who he's asking them to sing all this and meditate on? Thangaya Bhaktarhale, the ardent devotees of the Lord will be singing these songs on the Lord. So in this way, other devotees have also sung songs on him. And you have Nammarvar has also composed songs. And Andal, one of the devotees, and she has also composed on this particular deity. And it comes in one of the lines in her songs, and it's called Kartil Vengadam Kannapuranhar. So here the name of the deity is again coming here as Kannapura Nagar. Okay, and this is Vengadam is referring to Tirumala, and she's referring to both of these temples, Kartil Vengadam Kannapura Nagar. And this is the temple tower. And here you have the pond, which is outside the temple. So the next deity we have here is called as Tiruchitrakudam. Tiruchitrakudam. This is the 40th Divya Desam. And the deity here again is the actual deity, but the original deity is not there anymore. So the deity, the name of the deity is called as Govinda Raja Swami, is the name of the deity. And but the main deity was thrown by one of the Chora kings in the Chora dynasty. They were one of them. He became increasingly averse to the Vaishnavas, and because of his hatred and the hatred grew, and then he threw the deity of the Govindaraja Swami into the ocean, into the Bay of Bengal. But then this was during the time of Sri Ramanujacharya. It was a very difficult time for the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas have faced intense problems throughout history as they have tried to spread the glories of the Lord. And so even such sayings about the hardships of the Vaishnavas is also mentioned, such sentiments have been mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Haridas Thakur's Samadhi in Puri, near Jagannath Puri, by the tree where Haridas Thakur's place was there, is there. And in the same way, the Utsava deity was then rescued by Sri Ramanujacharya, and that Utsava deity was established in Tirupati. And we covered that last week as in the Govindaraja Swami temple in Tirupati. And that's where the Utsava deity is. It's still there, just as how Ramanujacharya has kept it in Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. And then this is a makeshift deity here who is kept in this particular temple. And originally there was a dance competition by between Lord Shiva and Parvati, and Lord Shiva as present right now in that particular temple as Nataraja. And many of the devas were called to give a verdict of whether who was a better dancer, whether it was Lord Shiva or it was Parvati. And then afterwards, Parvati Devi could not match with the dance of Lord Shiva, who performs the cosmic dance for the devastation of the universes. And then all the devas clapped and cherished that Lord Shiva was the won the dance. But then they all asked here the Lord, and the Lord said that he was just going to recline here and they can keep dancing, and his name was called as Govindaraja. And this Govindaraja, and then they all said, all the devas have said, but now the final verdict is in the hands of this deity who is reclining here as Govindaraja Swami. And but then the deity was quite silent. He didn't say anything much, and he said, well, if the devas have said so, I am also okay with their decision. But then Parvati Devi got angry, and then she left outside the temple, and then she has assumed the form of Kali in another place outside this particular temple. And even now, the temple complex is in such a way that there is in one side, there is an altar of Lord Shiva, whereas the only place where he is seen in not as in the form of linga, but he's seen in the dancing form, just as how he is seen during the cosmic annihilation. And then in the other side, you can see the personality of Godhead reclining as Sri Govindaraja Swami. But this deity is the makeshift deity, as the original deity is not there anymore. And many songs have been composed on this deity as well. And King Kulashekara himself has sung 10 plus 1, 11 verses on this deity, which is the summary of the Ramayana, which is very popular among the Sri Vaishnavas, which goes by Anganid Madil Pudaisu Ayodhyanam. So in this, and there he names this temple complex as Thillai Nagar Tiruchitrakudam. So there he says, in this place of Thillai Nagar, there is this Tiruchitrakudam, that which is the name of this particular Divya Desam. And so he names this, and there are 10 songs by this, and it's a very popular. This is the last of the 10. There are 10 sets of songs composed by King Kulashekara, which is called as Perumal Tirumudi. And the last of the 10 are these 10, which is composed on this particular deity, and where he names this particular place as Tiruchitrakudam. The next temple here is called as Tirukkoyilur. So this Tirukkoyilur is the 42nd Divya Desam. All the temples I've shown you here are called as, in Sri Vaishnava parlance, are called as Divya Desams. Divya Desams just mean that they have been sung by they are transcendental places. Divya is transcendental, Desam is places, transcendental places, spiritual abodes, the Lord, who have, but specifically have been sung by the Arvars. The Arvar devotees in the Sri Vaishnava canon, they have sung on hymns about those deities. So this is the 42nd. Initially, this temple, only Krishna was present. And even now, the first deity who's worshipped here is Krishna, who's there at the entrance. There is a big deity of Krishna there. And but later, Lord Vamana, as Trivikrama Swami, came only later, and taking permission from Krishna first, only then Trivikrama Swami came there. And this particular deity, I did not find the picture. It was very hard to find there was all the deities I showed you so far were original pictures of the deities in the altar taken by someone, but this particular deity, I could not find the picture at all. And and he's a very tall deity here, and as you can see, the feet of the deity is in the position of going towards the space, because as King Bali Maharaj asked for the 3 footsteps, and one of the footsteps was kept in this in covering the space and outer space, the sky, and that's how one of the legs is up, and the deity is very, very tall and amazingly beautiful, and has been there. And this temple has a rich history as well, because the first of the 3 Arvars called as Poigai Arvar, Budatta Arvar, and Pei Arvar. So those 3 Arvars composed their first songs, hymns, or the pasurams from this particular outside this particular temple. So it was a night time, and it was a very rainy night. And at that time, only one of these Arvars, Poigai Arvar, was inside, and he was lying down. And then there was a knock on that particular hut, and then Poigai Arvar, okay, which is the first of the Arvars, he opened the door, and then the second Vaishnava saint called as Budatta Arvar, he entered, and then they said if one can lie down, 2 of them can sit. And then at that time, there was a knock on the door, and the third Vaishnava saint called as Pei Arvar, he entered. And then they said, if one can sit, one can sleep, 2 can sit, but 3 can stand. And all 3 of them stood there. And then immediately Poigai Arvar composed the first 100 hymns. Even now, these are the first composed of the 4,000. But even though the Divya Prabandha, these 4,000 songs were later reorganized in such a way that the first songs are now, the first set of songs are of Peri Arvar, the father of Andal. But the first songs that were composed, and all of them lived during the Dwapar Yuga, somewhere around 4,300 to 4,800 BC. That's when they lived. And then here the Pei Arvar, he sings, and when they immediately after, when they do these compositions and sing about and speak about the glory of Lord, and then the Lord shows them, and then he sings that Tirukandeen Punmeni Kandeen. So he's seeing this amazingly beautiful form. Kandeen means to see. He gets this vision of this Lord, and then he sees on that bottom left panel is the current temple tower. It's a huge temple. And as you walk in and go, and you first see Krishna, and Trivikrama Swami, or Lord Vamana himself, took permission here from Krishna before accepting this place as a place for him to stay. So this temple is very popular because of the 4,000 preserved songs called as Divya Prabandham, the first 100 and so on by Poigai Arvar, and then those by Budatta Arvar, Pei Arvar, they were all composed in this, outside this temple complex. And then the Lord himself was there to show vision, showed them his form, and he then sings as Punmeni Kandeen. Kandeen means that he saw the vision, spiritual vision of the Lord. And so this is the first Pasuram. But even though, again, even though what was composed, but later it did get reorganized. And Periyar verse is how it starts now. The next temple we will be doing is called as Sri Varadaraja Swami, and this is the original place was called as Kachi, but now it is called as Kanchi. And Kanchi, and then here is the actual deity in the altar, very tall deity, and here is the temple complex. Varadaraja Swami. So he is someone who gives boons. He's very, the history shows that he has been very benevolent and to devotees, and he has done a lot of things for the devotees. And in the Sri Rangam, the Lord has accepted the services of the devotees, whereas here the Lord has given been a benefactor for many devotees here. This is the 43rd Divya Desam, and the deity's name is Varada, or Varadaraja is someone who gives boon, but the actual name of the deity is Devaraja Swami, the king of all the Devas demigod, Devaraja Swami. And there is a famous devotee who was the spiritual mentor of Sri Ramanujacharya, and his name is Tirukachi Nambi. There are many personal interactions of this Tirukachi Nambi. He used to have a chamara, and then he used to do the fan this deity, and the deity used to speak with Tirukachi Nambi, and who acted as a mentor for Sri Ramanujacharya. And this temple also records several interactions with Sri Ramanujacharya. And this is also the temple where Sri Yamunacharya, who is the spiritual master of Sri Ramanujacharya, first saw Ramanujacharya. And he was shown by Tirukachi Nambi from distance. Yamunacharya did not interact with Ramanujacharya, but he showed him that this person is Sri Ramanuja. And Yamunacharya identified Sri Ramanujacharya as the next great spiritual master of the lineage, who is going to spread Vaishnavism across the country. And so the deity and this particular deity also saved Sri Ramanujacharya in multiple occasions. And once when Ramanujacharya was in the North India, and there was an attempt to take his life. At that time, from the forest and by the Vindhya mountains, the deity and the goddess, who is called as Perundevi, and they both went as in the guise of a hunter, and then they mystically transported Sri Ramanujacharya from that forest to this place of Kanchi. So in this way, the deity has interacted with many devotees and Vaishnavas for many, many centuries. This is a very beautiful temple to look at, and the name of this place is called as Tiruragam. Uragam is the name of the place, and to the right here you can see is the actual deity, but I would not be doing justice by using this picture, because when you go and see this deity, the deity is almost 3 stories tall. The deity is 3 stories tall. They cannot dress the deity or something, because it's Lord Vamana in the form of Trivikrama Swami, which is where he has one of the feet extending all the way up to extending to the sky, and the form of the deity is exquisitely large. So you will have, once you go into the temple, you'll have to look up on the deity in order to even see the face. But the temple is amazingly beautiful, and this is the 50th Divya Desam, and the deity is Lord Vamana, and he was worshipped by King Bali, and the deity is so big, and this is the form of the deity as worshipped by King Bali from the lower planetary system of Sutala. So when the third feet or the third step of the Lord, when he, after he measured when he put the second foot covering the sky, and then the third foot he put on the head of King Bali, and then he pushed him down to the lower planetary system of Sutala. And from there, he looked at the Lord, and his vision is how this is seen, and that is how it will look for us when we go and see this deity. The deity is very, very amazingly magnificent to look at. And so this is after the third step of Lord Vamana. So that is this place called as Thiru Uragam. There are 3 Divya Desams within that same temple complex, which I didn't go through today. And the next temple that we will be doing is Sri Parthasarathi temple. And this is in Chennai now. And the place is called as Thiruvalli Keni. And that is the name of the place. And it's in proper Chennai city right now. And the main deity here, there is a confusion here. Again, I could not get any picture of this deity. There are drawings that I could find, but I could not find any picture of any actual photograph of this deity. I could not get. So this is the temple view, and it's a very beautiful temple. And the main deity is not called as Parthasarathi. That's a misconception. Just like the Sharangapani temple, I'd mentioned, the actual deity who is large and reclining and who went in a semi-awake position in response to the devotee of Tirumangai Alvar is called as Aravamudan, and he's not called as. But the small deity, the Utsava deity, is called as Sharangapani. In the same way, here in this temple, the main deity is called as Venkata Krishna, and it's the small deity who is called as Parthasarathi. But then the temple name came to be called as Parthasarathi because in some temples the small deity or the Utsava deity is much more popular, and hence he was called as, and the temple came to be known as Sri Parthasarathi. There are many other temples like this, which there is another temple in a place called Mannargudi, and in that place there is a temple with a very, very beautiful temple. The name of the deity is Sri Rajagopala Swami, but again the deity is not the main deity in the large deity, but it's a small Utsava deity who is called as Rajagopala Swami. So in the same way here, the small deity, the Utsava deity, is called Sri Parthasarathi Swami, and main deity is called Venkata Krishna. And the deity was one of the devotees really did not want to see the 400 form of the Lord, and requested that the Lord show his 200 form, which was pleasing to his eyes as Krishna, and then the deity was carved by Sri Vyasadeva. And therefore, if you see the deity, I don't know, maybe I have a picture here of a drawing, or maybe not. Okay, but the deity has only with 2 hands. In one of the hands, you can see a conch shell, Panchajanya, and there is no other weapon with the deity. The small Utsava deity is called as Parthasarathi. And here Krishna is there in the form of how he is in Dwaraka. He has, in the temple altar itself, he has Rukmini Devi, there is Lord Balarama, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Satyaki. So his all his family and entourage, everyone is there in the altar. And it's a very beautiful temple. And this is a temple where the parents of Sri Ramanujacharya prayed for, so that Sri Ramanujacharya would appear. The next temple I would do today is called as Tirukkurungudi. Tirukkurungudi, this is very much in the south, almost in the Kanyakumari district. And this temple is huge and extremely beautiful. This is a 78th Divya Desam. And the deity is said to be that of Lord Vamana. And there are hymns of this deity by Nammarvar, who was there, who lived somewhere nearby this temple actually. And in the Sri Vaishnava sannyasis. They are usually called Jiyar Swami, and they have always lived in this temple complex and supported this temple and have an exquisite relationship with the deities of this temple. And the prayers for Nammarvar's appearance, his parents prayed to this particular deity, and when they asked the deity as what kind of a child they wanted, they asked for a child just like him, and Nammarvar appeared. And something which is very prominent in this deity is the exquisite beauty of this deity. When one visits this altar, they are not actually the form of the Lord. He's tall and it's not easily visible because the light inside the altar is very dim. And so usually only when the priest shows Arti and shows the lamp near the face of the deity that one would be able to really even see properly the face of the deity. And when one sees the face of the deity has a greenish complexion, a greenish hue. And this is one of the few temples where I've seen with a greenish hue, and the deity is exquisitely beautiful that one just does not want to leave that place at all. There is an exquisite beauty to the face of this deity. And one could get, the temple is not that crowded on a normal basis. It's very deep inside the state of Tamil Nadu, and it's like in the Kanyakumari district. So one can even go and take darshan for a long time. And but the deity is extraordinarily beautiful. It's really worth to go and look at this beautiful face of the Lord. And there are 5 deities in this temple and the surrounding temple complex, and where he is called as Ninna Nambi, which means he's in a standing position. That is here, as and then as Irinda Nambi, where he's in a sitting position, Kidanda Nambi, where he's in reclining position, Kurungudi, that's him here, and then Vaishnava Nambi. Vaishnava Nambi, that's another temple which is on a mountain nearby, and is called as Vaishnava Nambi there. You have to climb up. There are some waterfalls and stuff nearby. Very, very beautiful, serene place to chant, and highly favorable for Krishna consciousness. The next temple that we will do today is called as Arvar Tirunagari. And in this temple is, as it says, this temple is where Nammarvar sat there and for many years without opening his eyes. And this is the tree. It's still there. This is the 87th Divya Desam, and it is very closely associated with Nammarvar. And this is the place where he sat, he meditated, and then he saw all the other temples by his spiritual vision, and he wrote those hymns. And to the bottom left here is the picture of Nammarvar drawn by someone, and here is one hymn, that song that he composed. This is actually there is 10 of them, but to get all 10 together is considered as one hymn or one pasuram, and it starts like this. This 10 shows a particular path, the pathway by which one travels from the material world to the spiritual world, as the soul, the spiritual form of the living being, as they ascend and cross the Vaitarani river, and then they move towards the spiritual abode. Nammarvar is giving the spiritual vision of his travel out of this material cosmos into the spiritual. And then here, the sun and the moon and all of them light up the path. And as he's traveling across the cosmos, you have different devas and different planetary systems, how they are celebrating this ascent, who's of this devotee, who's the Vaishnava devotee, who's been carried from this material world into the spiritual world. And as the devotee is going back to Godhead, and how he's being received in the spiritual world, is a very popular, this is where it ends, the Divya Prabandham, his last of the Pasurams end. And it is called as Sur Visamb Animuyal Turiyam Murakina ஆழ்கடல் அலைத்திரை கையெடுத்து ஆடின ஏழ் புழிலும் வலம் ஏந்தியே என் அப்பன் வாழ்புகழ் நாரணன் தமரை கண்டு உகந்தே. That the Lord is looking at this devotee, and then the devotee is hastening up, and it is very in the Sri Vaishnava metaphysical parlance. This is called as the there is a certain marga for the devotees when they go back to Godhead, which is called as Arca. The Archa path, and that's what is being mentioned here in this particular. And Sri Ramanujacharya based a lot of his teachings based on these hymns or pasurams written by Nammalvar. And these are all there are 1,000 of them, and together they're called as Tiruvai Muri. And this is a tamarind tree, and it is present just as it was, and it represents Adi Sesha, and it is present just as how it was 5,120 years ago. The next temple that we will do today is, I'm almost coming to the end of mine. There is just one more temple after this, and then we will finish today. And this is called as Sri Valliputtur. This is a huge temple tower here. And this is the 88th Divya Desam, and it's the appearance place of Andal. And this is where she grew up with her foster father, who is Periyarvar. And this is where Andal, the temple is most popular for Andal, and because she composed all her hymns or pasurams in this particular temple. And those songs are called as, there are a bunch of them called as Nachiyar Tirumuri, and then there is the 30 small ones called as Tirupavai. And these Tirupavai, there are 30 of them, which she sang during the Margashira month. And at the end of the 30th, after singing the 30th song, she went, and the deity of this particular temple asked her to go to Sri Rangam to get married to Sri Ranganatha Swami. And I've just picked up last two of one particular hymn here to explain the sentiments of this devotee and towards the Lord here. Palahanan Marayin Purulai Madam Uluha Varanam Uyyalittayam Alahanar Ani Aichiyar Sindayul Kulahanar Baril Kudidu Kudale. So this means she's singing about Krishna, that he's a secret meaning of the Vedas, the merciful redeemer of Gajendra elephant, the enchanting figure in the hearts of the gopis. And when Krishna fails to come, even after he had promised several times, the gopis would get angry and would decide not to entertain him in their houses when he comes again. But soon they would change their minds and completely when they see his face. And this is the last of the Pasuram in one of those 10. Oodal Koodal Unarthal Punarthalai Needin Nindri Nirai Pugar Aichiyar Koodalai Kudar Kodalai Kodai Mun Kuriya Padal Pathum Villarke Lai Pavami. So in this, out of love, anger, they would say, why did you come here to my house? Get out, and I don't want to see your face again, and such things. And Krishna will plead with them and say, I'm not your servant. Where can I, am I not your dasa, servant? Where can I go? Won't you allow me inside? And so on. And Krishna will come near the window while enchantingly and plead so much that that the gopis would soon forget their anger and forgive him, and says Kodai. Kodai is the name for Andal. So in this way, there are many pastimes in this temple. The temple is very popular, very beautiful. And currently, the state of Tamil Nadu has this particular temple tower on their government emblem. That is the picture of this particular temple in this place called as Sri Valliputtur. And the deity here is lying down position, and he's called Bata Patra Shayi. Bata means leaf. So this is the form of Krishna shown in lying down position. It is not exactly as what it is shown by Markandeya Rishi, but he's a lying down position. Bata means leaf. He's lying on Bata Patra Shayi is the name of the deity. And that is the banyan leaf in which Krishna appeared in front of Markandeya Rishi when he wanted to see during the cosmic devastation. You can see the Srimad Bhagavatam for the descriptions of that. This is the last temple I'm going to cover today, and it is called as Kallaragar. Kallaragar, and this temple is near the Madurai, and this is the 91st Divya Desam, and the deity is called as Paramaswami or Kallaragar, or in common parlance, he's also called as Sundar Rajaswami. And he has 5 weapons that he carries, and the name of this place is called as Tirumaliran Cholai. And something which is very, very unique about this deity is the exquisite beauty of this deity, and he was called as Sundar. Sundar is beauty, Sundar Rajaswami. And there are many, many hymns about this deity by various arvars. And one of them I have mentioned here about Andal, who mentions the name of this particular temple here as Malirum Solai Telliyar Palar Kai Tholum Devanar Vallal Malirum Solai Manalanar Palli Kollum Idattadi Kottida Kollum Ahilni Kudidu Kudali. So she is talking here about the deity of Lord Ranganatha, who is here in this place as Tirumaliran Solai. Okay, so and the deity is exquisitely beautiful. You can see the mountains behind, and there are a lot of monkeys there. And but if you look at this deity, it's very hard to go out of the altar. The deity is amazingly beautiful. And it's guarded outside by a particular deity called as Karuppu Swami, and but he's in a locked altar. Ramanujacharya locked that altar because it's opened only once a year. And Andal, during her, who's one of the Arvars, who had a wish list of what she wanted to offer to the deity here, that is the Kallaragar or Sundararajaswami. But she could not do it. But later Sri Ramanujacharya made those offerings to this deity. And here is the form of the deity. The deity is very, very beautiful to look at, and he is called as Kallaragar. And so with that, I'm going to end today. We have only one more session. And during the last session, I will cover a few more temples in India, and I'll also cover a few temples outside India where there have been some reciprocation with deities. And today I covered a lot of temples, so I couldn't go too much into the reciprocation, but I would do that more next Friday. The next Friday would be the last of those 4 sessions of the seminar. Again, I would like to thank Preeti Vilasini Mataji for asking me to do this session. And I offer my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed this session. It was so relatable. And you covered almost all the important Devadations. It was such a good class. Thank you so much. So many memories.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much again for such a beautiful, beautiful description with pictures, with the glories, and also with the specific special pastimes that happened there. So thank you. It was amazing. Yeah, I missed second part, and I'm yet to hear the recording. I'll surely hear it and get back. So thank you again.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for a very beautiful class, very beautiful slides.
The only thing is I don't know who is speaking. It's not showing up in my. It's okay, Mataji. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm Shivani.
Okay.
Yeah, and before that it was Preeti Vilasini. Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Hare Krishna. I guessed from your voice, but thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If you have any questions or realizations, please go ahead at this time.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Yeah, this is Kirtida Sundaridasi here. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the nice class. But I'm totally from North. I couldn't relate anything to the South temples. But I really enjoyed the class, to be really, because it's really about Krishna, about the Supreme Lord. I have few questions, Prabhu. First is that all these temples in South, especially the temples that you were mentioning, they all are in Tamil Nadu?
Today,
yeah, today only. I'm talking about today's class.
All of them are in Tamil Nadu, yes.
Okay, yeah. And another thing is, I could see that all deities are almost similar. Like they all are Vishnu Murtis, and they all are, like, to me, represent, all are like Balaji temple, the same features, the same tilak, the same associated with Bhudevi and Sri Devi, and almost the same style of dhoti wearing. So why is it so? Anybody?
So a couple of things, Mataji. One thing is the deities here in today's part of the seminar series, they are in 3 different positions usually. In some of them are in standing position like this. And today I didn't show you any deity who is in a sitting position. There are other deities like that. And in Madurai itself, there is another deity called as Kudal Aragar, who is in a sitting position. And then some of them are in reclining position. And in those who are in reclining position, you can find them. Some of them would be Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, which is the most common. And there are a few who are Garbhodakashayi Vishnu as well. And next seminar, I will do Padmanabha Swami, who is in the Garbhodaka ocean. And because you can see the Brahma coming from the navel pit. If it is Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, you can identify that he's not, because there is no Brahma coming from the navel pit in the Vishnu and the Vishnu. So in that way, you can distinguish. And in some deities, you can see some, for example, in one of the deities, which is called as Venkata Krishna, you can see that all he had was just a conch shell. He didn't have any other artifacts. So there are some differences here and there. But then as you are mentioning, these play this Shank Chakra, all these things on the deity, they are as worshipped by the Sri Vaishnavas. And the Ramanujacharya, he also ensured that all the deities are in as the Lord, that all this his paraphernalia is represented in this way. And there is some exceptions, a few deities which are not in that, but all of them, the tilak that you see is a Sri Vaishnava tilak, because that is the sampradaya which is worshipping. Like, for example, if you see in the first part of the seminar series, we did temples in Vrindavan and Rajasthan. If you see the Radha Govind Dev temple in Jaipur, it is not worshipped by the priests in the ISKCON, but it is, but the deity there has the tilak just like us, has the feet of Krishna and then the Tulasi Devi on the nose. So that is through Tulasi Devi, they're approaching the feet of the Lord. Right, that is in the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And then if you see the Madhva Vaishnavas, there you can see that they have, similar to us, they have a U, which is made of which represents the feet of the Lord, but in the center they have a black line which represents fire, the Agni Deva. And through Agni Deva, fire as a medium, they're approaching Krishna. So, but here, if you see the Sri Vaishnava Tilak, the center line here represents Shri or Mahalakshmi. That is why it is called Shri Sampradaya, which means through Mahalakshmi. Nobody is approaching Krishna independently. They are all approaching through a particular devotee. So whoever sampradaya they are in, they are approaching the Lord through there. So the center line here represents Mahalakshmi or Shri, and then the outer U here is taken from the mud from the ant hill, and with that mud they have composed the outer U, which is representing the feet of Lord Narayana. So for us, the U is taken from the mud from the Govardhan, from Vrindavan. But even though we are putting Gopi Chandan these days, okay, but actually if you go to Vrindavan, you can see that they take the mud from Vrindavan and make the U. So, but in the Vallabhacharya, where there you can see that they have a U which represents the Govardhan hill, and then they have a dot in the center which represents the Yamuna river. So in this way, every sampradaya, they have the temples that they are taking care of, where their priests are performing the arti and the puja. They are seeing the Lord as that particular sign is there. So that is why you're seeing the Sri Vaishnava Tilak in this. So
yes,
you got it.
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that. Really, it helps. My another question is that today morning only I heard in one of the class somebody was mentioning that in the Sri Rangam temple, where Ranganath is lying down, underneath is the river, that is Viraja river is flowing. Is it correct?
I don't know, Mataji.
You don't know.
Okay. Can I kitchen?
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead, Preeti Vilasni.
Sorry. Yeah, so it is akin to the Viraja river. It is not the Viraja river itself. It is akin, meaning it's compared to the Viraja river, because the entire Srirangam temple is Bhuloka Vaikuntham. So whatever is there in Vaikunta, the same format is followed in the construction of the temple. So it is also garlanded by the river, a branch of Kaveri. So which is similar to Viraja. So just like how a jiva has to cross the Viraja to reach Vaikunta, similarly, you have to go across this river to reach the temple. That's the significance.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Prabhuji, sorry, my last question.
Kollidam. The branch of Kaveri is called as Kollidam. Okay. That's the river. Yeah, they are comparing to Viraja.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Prabhuji, my last question. I know I'm taking a lot of your time. The last temple that you showed, you mentioned one line that Sri Ramanujacharya closed the temple for the entire year. Only one day it gets open.
It's not closed. It's a separate altar, which is there in front of the temple, who acts as a guardian for the actual deity. And that guardian, he said it, he's just too powerful to look at, and so he closed the altar of that particular. It is still closed. It's not the main deity. It's in the front of the temple. There are 18 steps, and then that particular deity is there, and that altar is closed. It's open only once a year. That is all.
And reason being because he feels that he cannot see the deity, right?
Yeah, it's here. The Ramanujacharya basically said that that particular deity is like too powerful for people to look every day, and so he closed the altar.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But that is not the Lord. That's not the Lord.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience in answering all my questions.
I know that I covered in the first week. I covered the deities of in the north and northwest, and then last time I did the east. I hope south was not too out of.
Of course not, Prabhu. Of course, it's
okay.
all in alignment.
I'm just covering all throughout.
Yes, we are enjoying it, Prabhu. It's so nice. Thank you. Thank you. At least I'm not able to go to south, but through your presentation, I'm seeing all it. So it's so wonderful. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Paneshwar Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful yatra. Couple questions. It went kind of fast, so I was trying to take notes. But a couple of pictures before, there's this one Vigraha next to the main Vishnudita with a hand up. Is there any story for why that hand is there?
1 second.
Varadaraja, right?
Was it Varadaraja? I can't even remember where it was. No, keep going. More.
I think you're talking.
This right here. No, go back.
I think.
No, not this one. Not this one. The next one. No, go forward, not backward. Sorry.
Yeah, go to Varadaraja.
Yes, right here. See? What is that?
Sorry. Yeah, Abhyastam. Yeah.
What is forward, Mataji?
See, look at down at the bottom of his right foot. There's this deity right there. The other, yeah.
Here.
No, next.
Here.
Move more.
Oh, this deity here.
Yeah. What is?
He might be. They might be devotees of the Lord. I think they are. I don't know who it is, Mataji.
Okay, I was just curious that what.
It looks more like Krishna dancing, because
I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'll check, Mataji.
Yeah. So I was just.
I never observed it. Thank you. Observed it.
Yeah, I'm just.
Thank you.
And the other question I had was, you were talking about this one of the pasurams that talks about the ascent of the jiva. Into that was very, very interesting to me. Can you elaborate a little more about that? Because obviously when you mentioned that, I immediately remembered Brihad
So-
Bhagavatamrita and
So
Gopakam.
this is a set of 10, but together it counts only as one of the hymns, and it is called a Sur Visamba. And this Sur Visamba, it gives the pathway for when we, after the material body dies, when the spiritual, in our spiritual form, as we are ascending towards the spiritual world, he's giving the path, his spiritual vision. Even before he disappears, he's telling how he's seeing the whole path.
Yes.
And then in that, it starts with this Asur Visam Manimugil Turiyam Murakina Arkadal Alaitere Kayeduthu Adina. And then Varpur. So that means that in this earth, you have this deep ocean, and everybody is like so happy singing. And then they're all giving you a send-off, everything they're giving you a send-off to go back to Godhead. And then it goes Naran and Tamarai Kandu Ugandu Nan Neer Mugil Purana Purkudam Purita Duyar Vinil Neerani Kadalhalin Rarthana Neduvarai Thoranam Nirai Tengum Turudanar Ulage. So all the people in this world, they are praying and everything, and then he's ascending up to the spiritual world. Turudanar Ulagarkal Dupanal Malar Marai. So there is this Dup, which is in nice incense sticks are burning. Malar Marai, flowers are just showering over him. And then Yediredir Yimayavar, Iripidam, Bhagattanar, Kadiravar, Avaravar. So all the sun, the stars, the moon, they're all lined up in the sky, and they have formed a road for them, lit up with these lights. And then he is going around Adikural Murasangal. So, and all the devas in the different planetary systems, they're all playing trumpets, and they're playing different musical instruments. Alaikadal Murakata Madhuvidi Thoraimuri Madhavan Tamarki. So Lord Madhava, he's moving towards Lord Madhava. So he will get the names of different forms of Krishna here as in, and then Madhavan Tamarendru Vasalil Vanavar. So in each of the demigods' planets, they are coming out and standing in front. And then they're looking at the spaceship which is moving with this devotee, and then they are just looking, who is this that is moving in the spaceship towards Vaikuntha. Geethangal Padinar Kinnarar Kerudargal. So Kinnarar, there is the Kinnaras, and then they're all coming and singing. Vedanal Vayavar Velviyul Madutte. So, and then they're singing the Vedas, and then there are fire sacrifices that are going on in different demigods' planets in the heaven. Velvi is fire sacrifice. And then Velviyul Maduthalum Virai Kamar Narum Pugai. And then all of them, nice smell is coming out of these fire sacrifices that people are doing. And then he's moving for Madandayir Varthalum, Maridarum Vasukalum. The Maruts, the Vasus, they're all coming and lining up, and then looking at this devotee who is moving towards Vaikuntha. Kudiyadi Yarivar Govindan Tanakendra. So all of them they're seeing here, and as he's moving here towards Lord Govinda. Vaikundam Pugudalum Vasalil Vanavar. And now as he's entering Vaikuntha, and in the entrance, all these demigods, and then Jaya, Vijaya, everybody's standing and then giving a grand reception to this devotee. Vaikundam Tamaremar Yamadidam Pugudendru. And then he's moving inside, and then he says, Vaikundam Puguvadu Mannavar Vidhi, that it is his right to enter Vaikuntha. So as a devotee, that is his true home. And he says that is his right to enter into Vaikuntha. And then it ends as Bandavar Yedirkulla Maamani Mandabat. And then once he goes inside, he sees this precious mandap, or that is made of different gemstones and pearls. Andamil Perinbam. So there is so much happiness that he's facing. Adiyor. And then such beautiful people in the Vaikuntha, they're all coming and accepting him as one of them, and taking him into the spiritual world. So I just give a brief thing, but the song has
it's beautiful. Could you share a link where I can find the translation and the Tamil and the translation? Okay. And even if there's a recording, I would love to hear it. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll send it to Preeti Vilasini Mataji.
Yes, please. Hare Krishna.
Karpa Vallavalli Mataji, please go ahead.
Dandatnam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Dandatnam. Prabhuji, Dandatnam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I am from Tamil Nadu. Almost all of the temples I have visited. Srirangam is an island between Kaveri and Kollidam.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes,
am I audible?
We are able to hear you, Mataji. Go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Prabhuji?
yes.
It's another thing. Second Divya Desam you told, no, it is Saranganada Kumbagonam, sir, Prabhuji. Saranganada temple in Kumbagonam. That I didn't visit. And Tirucheri, where is this Tirucheri, Prabhuji?
The name of the place is called Tirucheri.
Tirucheri, yes. Where is
the place? It's near Kumbakonam.
Kumbakonam.
You go to Kumbakonam, and from there you can visit the next temple here called as Nachiyar Koil, and that is also
Nachiyar Koil. I have been there. Nachiyar
Koil, only about 20-minute drive from there.
Uppiliyappan also I have visited.
But that is in a different direction. Uppiliyappan is in a different direction. This is a different direction. This you have to go towards Nagapattinam.
Prabhuji, then Tiruchitrakudam, Govindaraja where it is, Prabhuji?
It is in the Chidambaram temple.
Chidambaram.
It is in Lord Nataraja is there. On the other side, you have Govindaraja Swami. They are all side by side. One altar and another altar. That is like just as how the Shaivas call it as Chidambaram, for the Vaishnavas, the place is called Tiruchitrakutam. That is the place where the Lord is seen as Sri Ramachandra Prabhu, but he's in a reclining position, of course.
Another thing, Tiruvuragam, Prabhuji.
They're all in Kanchipuram. Yeah, there are 13 such Divya Desams there around the place, and one of them is called Tiruvuragam. I've been to the Tirungurugudi and that Vaishnavi Nambi, it is, we have to climb the hill, no? Very, road is very, this thing steep and just like Agobilam, it is like that. And that evening they told about Agobilam, no? Like that only the pathway is there to Tirunambi. You have to go by one, this thing and, okay. Stevely Buttur and the color. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Dandatnam.
Gopika Mataji, please go ahead. Vindaka Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Koti Dandat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Gopinath ki jai, South India Yatra ki jai. Prabhuji, in 2007, we enter in Shri Tirupati Balaji, Sri Rangam, Kanchipuram, Mahabalipuram. Prabhuji, one by one, 7 Gopuram is coming, और उसके बाद हम एंटर होते थे मंदिर में और सिर्फ दिया से हम श्री देवी भूदेवी एंड श्री विष्णु श्री लॉर्ड कृष्णा का दर्शन कर सकते थे और प्रभुजी दैट यात्रा वी नेवर फॉरगेट Koti Dandat Pranam, Prabhuji. This is our cooking time and all the positive energy came in our cooking, Prabhuji. Koti Dandat Pranam to your sincere seva, Prabhuji. You rememberize 2007 South India Yatra. Please pray for us that again we can enter in South India Yatra, Prabhu. Just Radhanath Maharaj told that साउथ इंडियन वैष्णव होते हैं उसमें कूट के भक्ति भरी हुई है तो आज आपने प्रभु जी बहुत सब जगह पे श्री वरदराज जी इन सब जगह पे आप धाम में लेके गए और वो हमें तो पोटेंसी नहीं है कि हम देख पाए या दर्शन ले पाए पर पिछले 2 हफ्ते पहले भी आप लेके गए थे हमें कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम टू योर सिंसियर सेवा प्रभु जी सो श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय गोपीनाथ की जय नो वर्ड्स टू योर सिंसियर सेवा प्रभु जी थैंक यू वेरी मच कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम
थैंक यू हरे कृष्ण
Anita Kanwarika Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, very beautiful presentation, Prabhu. This time you covered lot of temples. Very nice, Prabhuji. Prabhu, I just wanted to know in which temple you were telling that Garuda deity is increasing the size?
It's called Nachiyar Koil.
Okay, where is this, Prabhuji?
It's all near Kumbakonam, Mataji, about 2 hours from Trichy.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. so much. Very, very beautiful presentation, Prabhu. It was just like seeing all the temples in front of our eyes. Hari Bol.
So we'll do the last session next Friday. I'll cover a few more temples in India, and then I'll also do a few temples outside India as well.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Once again, I would like to thank His Grace Jayananda Gauranga Prabhuji. Thank you for your valuable time and wonderful association today. Thank you for a very beautiful class and beautiful slides. Please share the slides with us, Prabhuji. We look forward to your wonderful association in the near future. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, if there are no more questions or realization this time, I would like to pay my obeisances to His Grace Jayananda Gaur Prabhuji and all the assembled devotees. Do I have your permission, Prabhuji, to close the call?
Thank you.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Ananta Vaishnav ki jai. Acharya Das Thakur ji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Jayanand Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you.
Prabhuji,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Hari
Very
Bol.
nice
Hari
class.
Bol, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.